all starts obviously with your website, but everybody should have a website, even though, and I think we discussed this the other day, I had figures from Google that it was 60% of businesses that don't have a website. Mike O'Hagan, that was at our breakfast last week, was telling me it's closer to 80%. But it's still true, though, that, I mean, the smaller the business, the micro business and everything, and certainly trade businesses probably don't think they need a website. However, I mean, we all know searches are done first on Google before they go to a Yellow Pages printed or anything like that. So you've got to be found on the net. So you start with a website, but there's no point having a website if you don't have the back end. It's like having a car. You buy a car, it looks good from the outside, but if you don't know what's under the hood, under the engine, then how do you know if it's working? How do you know there is an engine under there? So under the hood of your website is obviously the CMS, as they call it, the content management system. I come across clients from time to time, I'm sure you do, Logan, as well, where they say, oh, I've just finished a website with a web company and it's got no CMS. It's like the old way where you have to go back to them all the time to change your website to do everything else. Having a content management system is like that. It shows you straight away who's actually been on the website, how many online sales have you got, an e-commerce thing. It shows you how many inquiries you've had and how many subscriptions you've had to your newsletter. So straight away it's a dashboard. So your actual website isn't a website anymore, it's an online business that tells you where people are coming and what they're doing. So this tells you where they're originating from, how they found you, whether it be search engine, referral or direct, whether they're a returning visitor, so the system recognises the IP address of the person coming in, or whether they're a new visitor, new or returning visitors. So obviously it gives you in a quick snapshot how successful or unsuccessful your website actually is. So basically it should just be as simple as a back end that you can log into. So you can log in at any stage and you can have a look at what's happening on the website. Straight away as you log in you should see your dashboard come up. It should give you a live feed of what's happening on the website as much as possible, so who's actually interacting with the website and what are they doing. It should be easy to change and update your data, so you should be able to get on there and change the content, because if it is your online business, it's like having a front of a retail shop. If you don't change the dress in the front, you know, your models and your clothes, if you're a clothing store, or put some new posters up, then you're not actually refreshing it. It just becomes a stale thing, so you've got to keep it fresh. So to do that, you need to have access to it and know what you're doing on there. So if you don't, what happens is, you imagine this is the big radar of people going on Google or searching for you as a company. It's just you're just a dot on the radar of people that are going through. So the idea of marketing today is to become a target, to become a pinpoint, so that they can actually target you and find you amongst this massive digital communication. The QR code, which we mentioned last time, so it's just a piece of software, so all you do is just go up to this thing here. As soon as you get close to it, loading a page now, so you can direct it, and it's actually directing to that particular page. So the idea with the QR code is that you can use that little bit of printed data on anything, from a business card to tattooed onto your forehead, to a poster, to wherever you want to do, and you can direct it to a website, you can direct it to a video, you can do it. We've got a client at the moment, KidSafe in Perth, that's using it for their safety demo house. So when people go around, they look at a kitchen, and instead of having to read a whole bunch of stuff, they can just click on the QR code and it plays them audio or a video of safety in the kitchen, and then they move on to the next one. So there are so many different options.
Billboards, beer cans,
Well, it should be. That's what the first thing I thought is, why don't we have it on a business card? So instead of having to type in www. You bang.
Off to your LinkedIn profile.
Just scan it and away it goes. Yeah. The other way is obviously newsletters. I'm just going to skim through this, but again, these are just all things that we should be doing if we're not doing and embracing. So this is our newsletter that we do. We found the format for any newsletter should be nice and simple: an opening story, and then going into like 3 little stories and maybe some specials. There's a QR code down the bottom there. So it's easy, quick for people to read, because as we said, people don't have time. They want to just get on there and quick. If it's too long and wordy, if they can't pinpoint a hook that is of interest to them, here they've got an option of either 3 stories plus the intro, or there's 3 specials, whichever they want. But nice and simple, all in one page, so they don't have to scroll down too far. Some newsletters just seem to scroll down forever. Websites that scroll, I'm 100% against scrolling websites, because I just think people just don't have time to keep scrolling. They've got to get the message straight up, and then you want to hook them and link them through into what you do. you should be able to tell, again with that online business, where that newsletter's gone. And a lot of software does this now, but it tells you you've sent it out to 3,800 and so far 669 have opened it. You should then be able to drill down and find out who opened it. So you can actually list that 600 and find out who are your more active customers and opened it. And then more importantly, you can look at the most linked on the popularity of the links. So you can see, well, okay, out of my stories, those 6 that we saw before, which were linked on more? So you know people are more interested in those stories than they are in that. So you can start targeting and streamlining your newsletter to suit the readers that are actually reading it. Google AdWords, again, another way. I mean, this is all stuff that you do, but I just thought we'd cover it because this is what people are doing now to market themselves online, is Google AdWords. The idea with Google AdWords is that you obviously pay for clicks, that people click through. It shows you straight away, and it's amazing how people just don't use it, because it's a way of actually of targeting a particular audience with an ad, but also it gives you the ability to see who's actually responding to it. Half of marketing today is you don't know whether people have seen your ad in the newspaper or in a magazine. This way you know if it's worked or it hasn't worked, but more importantly, if it's not working, you can change it quickly and you can keep playing around until you find something. Or you can turn it off. I'll just, if you don't mind me just showing your... So we did one for Oz Migration, but the interesting thing here is that you have to target it from the ad straight through to a landing page, because that's the other thing. If you just target, if you've got a Google ad that's saying, we do this, in John's case it was try a quick step qualifier, if they then click on that ad and they go through to the home page and they think, where do you go now? You know, you've got to keep funneling them down to what you want them to do. So we created that landing page that goes straight to the quick step qualifier, and then they can go on. So they've clicked on the ad and it's targeted, driven them down the track that we want to drive them to. The other thing we've done, we haven't launched this as the second campaign yet, but obviously putting an offer on. So not only do you target them down, but then give them an incentive to act now. Because like I was saying before with that, by 4 p.m. find that picture with the photo library, if you don't give them an actual call to action, you'll lose them at that point. So we've got to keep pushing them down until they fill in that inquiry, keep it simple, and then take them through. The other thing is, which again I've touched on a couple of times, is being able to write stories and get the stuff out there, because the more people get to know about you, about your business, and about the specialty that you do. This is a story that I wrote in Dynamic Business. The story's okay, but the most important thing to me is all of the comments from the community that you get afterwards. So it starts a bit of a forum happening. So all these people who I don't know, never met before, have started to comment, nice one, you know, you're right, talking about the story. And if I want to, I can then start interacting with those people and responding and starting a bit of a forum going around the subject matter that I've written about. All of this helps create your profile online so that when people search you, they can find you. This was one briefly, Friday a week ago. I just sent the same story off to a magazine called My Business. All these magazines, by the way, are all online. You've got your printed ones, but your online ones are the ones to target, I believe. I sent the story through to My Business. Within an hour I got an email back saying, we'll run your story and see how we go. Bang, it was on the front page straight away, and then the story just links through. But then when you search me on Google, you find those stories sort of come up. So you start creating a profile for yourself. So as soon as someone searches you, and then obviously your business, eventually they're linked together, they find everything on there. So then the next stage is obviously to have your own cheesy grin, but you've got to register your own domain. So then you start creating your own profile online. So you register your name.com. So obviously it's international. If you should try for the .com, and then you can put everything that you do. And then obviously there is also a link back to the website. So again, it's driving that traffic back to your business. So you're creating your own profile, which I call personal branding, back to your own business branding, which is your website. You can't afford to miss any of this stuff. This is the future. This is the growing stuff. I mean, Twitter and YouTube, unbelievable. You know, just in terms of growth. Now. Yeah, I mean, as soon as you put a slide up, it's out of date. It's just a phenomenon we live in, this world of digital media and social media. But the thing is, if you don't use it properly, this is a case study that I did for a company called Refund Home Loans, and it just sort of showed you, this is on their website, this is the profile of this guy. It's a nice picture of him, bit of information about what he does, but if you go forward from that, and look at his wording, it's all about I am and we are, and it's all brag and boast stuff. You know, there's no testimonials. It's all talking about he can do this and we can do this, rather than what is in it for the customer. It's more about I'm a specialist, rather than, you know, you need us for these reasons. But more importantly, you go through to his LinkedIn profile and it's dead. There's just nothing there. But what he's thinking, what the process is, people would go here first, and then if they like that, go forward to here. The chances are they won't go and find him here and go back the other way. So if this isn't right, then he's missing out on all of this kind of information. One of the things, I mean, I'm not a full bottle on LinkedIn, but one thing I did learn is that this is one of the most important things, isn't it? That this is what people search for. And a lot of people just put in here, Tony Eads, Creative Director, Sydney. And that's the only search thing that people can find. So you've got to use, you're limited with the amount of words, but these should be your key words, shouldn't they? The key search words that you want people to find you on has got to be in those first 2 lines of LinkedIn. The other important thing of LinkedIn is obviously your recommendations. So when people look at you, they're looking at you on LinkedIn and they want to know, okay, well, what work has this guy done? How good is he? I don't know him from a bar of soap, you know, if I'm going to work with him. So this is where you end up with all of your recommendations, and you can, there's ways in LinkedIn you can invite people to recommend you. So the more recommendations you get on there, the stronger your LinkedIn profile is.
Just on that, anytime you finish a milestone, you should invite whoever that you did the work to give you a recommendation. I think that's the best way.
And the idea is not to use their, you know, they've got a standard one that just says, I would like to invite you into my network, or can you recommend me? You can override that and write a nice personal thing. It was great working with you. Would you mind going, you know, make it personal so it doesn't look automated. Twitter. Again, another huge thing. If you know, I think Twitter. I've always thought Twitter is kind of still slightly ahead of its time. People still are trying to get, you know, the class of it. I found for me the success of Twitter has been picking a particular subject matter. For me, it's branding and marketing, and making sure my links. So everything's like linking out to further, because you're limited with a certain amount of words that you can use. But linking out to stories that are written. So those stories that we just saw before, we use those in Twitter to link back. But making it all brand related, so people know that if they're following me for marketing and that kind of stuff, not entertainment news or anything like that, which is what I don't want to be seen as a specialist for. I found that the other day. So this is fairly new, isn't it? The yellow pages of Twitter, Twello, is out there. So the same way as people would find you in yellow pages, the old printed one, they now find your Twitter through Twello. So again, it's just the way of the future that we're going virtual online directories. Managing all this is, and I mentioned this one before, I think managing all this can be as simple as, there's lots of other ones around. I use this one called brandyourself.com, and what it does is links everything together. Instantly you can find out who's been talking about you. So when you're doing all of this stuff, sometimes it's very hard to know if you've had something published or someone's mentioned you or whatever. This thing automatically finds for you the current mentions. And you can train it as well, like another Tony Eads actor in America, and it's got a ticker across. So I cross that, so then the system knows that Tony Eads isn't me, so it's not going to be following that kind of stuff. This is a free account, yeah. So I think you can upgrade it and pay more for it, but it's a freebie to set up. But it's you know, I find it's quite useful. If I want to update Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn all at once, I can do it through here, because I can just put it in once and it will automatically update. The other thing is obviously setting up your own brand channel, which is, again, you know, YouTube, which, you know, we looked at the stats on there, is such a growing thing. Video is one of the biggest drivers of the internet. They predicted that a year or two ago, and it's just driving more and more. The faster our internet speeds come, the more video becomes, you know, more of a driver in that kind of communications field. Again, this is a live stream is another platform. It's free to set up. Again, you can always upgrade to have less ads or less stuff around you. But what it does enables you to have a facility like YouTube to upload your videos and have it playing 24 hours a day. You don't pay for the videos to upload, they upload quickly. You can then link them into your stuff and make your own channel up of stuff that you want to do. This was just to finish off with, this was a guy actually was one of my students when I lectured at TAFE a fair while ago. He had a video that he uploaded. It was film and television, so he's a film and television student. Anyway, he uploaded this video, how to stop cats pissing on your car, the best cat video ever. And basically what it was about was, well, having an underlying message of responsible pet ownership. The video shows Craig's improvised humane solution to our ongoing problem with neighbourhood cats urinating on property, including cars. So he made it as a bit of a fun thing. So it's kind of out there. But just the results were, for a period in May, according to TrendsMap, the video was the second most discussed video in Australia on Twitter. So again, it linked to Twitter, people started talking about it. Just one spot behind Lady Gaga's latest song. Shortly after upload, the clip received over 200,000 views in a 48-hour period, and it was featured in numerous online human, technical and media sites, including The Guardian in the UK. And from here, this guy got lots of interviews from around the world. It just went viral. As you can see, he's already had like over 800,000 views, and he got offered a TV show to start a TV show of like comical things of, you know, whether it's all about cats or what, I don't know. But it just shows you how powerful the medium can be. But you've got to think outside the square. How can that type of video relate to your business to create some kind of a viral interest that will then drive chatter on Twitter, but not ruin the business image and the profile that you actually want? That's it.
Well done. Now with all that stuff, well done.